Hello, friends. I'm actually coming to you at a really pivotal point. It is a milestone point for me. Not a milestone I ever thought I would be on anytime soon in life, but here I am. If you know my story, it might not be a surprise of what I'm talking about, but if you don't know me, I'm glad you're here. It is me talking about this particular day is the 1 year anniversary since my husband passed away. And I don't know about you, there are things that we hope that we don't have to experience the pain of, or we don't think we're going to have to walk through for a very long time. And this was one of those milestone moments for me. I never thought I would be having the milestone of 1 year anniversary since my husband passed away before both my kids had graduated high school. I still have, one still in school. I never imagined that it would happen when they were so young. And when I was as young as I am, not that I'm young, but you all get my point. I don't exactly have too much gray hair or anything at this time. And that's what we envision. Let's be honest. We envision if we have to experience that pain, which we never want to, we envision it to be way later on in life. And that's something I had to grieve and lay down this past year, was how I expected life to go. And part of that posture of grieving how life was supposed to go, you revisit at the 1 year mark. And for me, my 1 year mark happened to be in the same month as my wedding anniversary. And the wedding anniversary also was the end of the first. And that's a big deal. Sometimes you don't realize it, but it solidifies just one more reality of how long they've been gone. And it goes from a singular perspective of they've been gone a year to a plural. There won't be any, well, this was my first Christmas without them, or this was my first blank birthday, or whatever. There's no more firsts. I've done all the firsts. And it does. It hits a little extra layer of reality. Not that I had acceptance issues. It's like another wave of, oh, here's one more thing to accept on a different level. And for me, it wasn't the anniversary of the 1 year passing that was tough. And I know that might sound weird. I'm not saying I didn't shed some tears that day, but I've come to terms with that, because if you have ever loved someone with a metastatic terminal disease, it changes you. It changes how you see death. And if they don't get healed this side of heaven, you are so happy that they are somewhere where they are not in pain anymore. I think what was more emotional for me was the first wedding anniversary without him. Not that the last couple anniversaries were great. I mean, he was in a lot of pain on some of them, or even the last one, he barely knew what was going on, but he was still there. And when I was able to tell him what was going on that day, he still showed as much love as he could in that type of moment. And, to go from at least something to nothing is hard. It was hard. And it was the reminder to me of the good times that I don't have access to anymore, or that companionship. For me, I don't want to go back to the time of suffering. My heart thinks fondly of the good times that we had and the happy companionship that we had. It's emotional. It is, to think about what you don't have anymore. And for me, maybe the reminder of my wedding anniversary, of the last big holiday, the last significant occasion that was the first time without, might have been just more as emotional as someone else's first anniversary of a passing. And you know what? There doesn't have to be a right or wrong. It doesn't, you don't compare your grief with someone else's grief. You just experience whatever you need to experience in that moment. And that's what I did on those days. I was intentional to experience. For me, those major occasions are an invitation to process. So I went to a beautiful place on each of those days, my wedding anniversary and the 1-year anniversary of my spouse passing away, and found a beautiful place, found a bench by a lake, and was intentional to feel and think and reflect and cry. It's okay. It doesn't mean you're stuck in the past. It just means you're posturing yourself to process and release, and that's good. You need it. Your body needs it. Your heart needs it. Your head needs it. All the above. For me, on my wedding anniversary, I looked back at pictures, and that made me cry. I was more emotional doing that. And it made me remember what I missed, because that represented the good things. And then on the actual 1-year anniversary of his passing by the lake, which, because I went again, I took time to think forward and also think about everything that has happened in the past year. So honestly, it was kind of a month-long journey of processing, of revisiting the past, and also looking at the future, and also looking at how I've been sustained this past year, which I have to give credit to God. Sometimes I'm like, wait, how am I functioning? And then I'm like, oh yeah, God, that makes it. I can't take a lot of credit for that. I also was like, wait, what have you told me? And what have other people told me? Because there are times that people will pray for you and it ministers to your heart, or they'll come up and tell you something, or something they experienced, like a feeling, or something they want to encourage you with. Or it could be like some people will call it like a prophetic word, like, hey, I see this for you. And so I took time to go down that road of, hey, God, what have you been telling me this past year? Because I wrote it down. I kept a journal. I kept what people had told me. And I'm like trying to agree with that, because you have to have a vision for good. You have to have a vision for the future. The scary part is there are ditches with grief, and you can fall into either one. You can not process at all and disassociate and be in that ditch, or you can over spiral and never have hope or vision for the future. So for me, I'm like, okay, where's the middle? So for me, like, the middle is, okay, if I have a wave of feelings or emotions or thoughts that come at me, I need to process them in that moment and then find a way to keep moving forward. I actually was reading a quote by someone that related grief to like waves in the ocean, and I will read it so I don't misquote it. It's by I'm sure a very nice person named Vicki Harrison. I don't know them, but they're probably really nice. She said, grief is like the ocean. It comes in waves, ebbing and flowing. Sometimes the water is calm. Those are nice days. And sometimes it's overwhelming. All we can do is learn to swim. And I'm learning to swim, y'all. I am. Maybe you've lost someone you love, or maybe you had things go a different way than you expected in life. And you have to grieve those expectations. Maybe you're grieving someone that you've lost. Maybe you're grieving expectations and a loss together, because that's really real. And it may feel like a wave that just slams you on some days, and it may not make sense, and it doesn't have to make sense. It's just deal with the waves as they come and give yourself grace when they come. And you might have a wave day that you might need to phone a friend for a life jacket, and that is okay. There's no shame in that. There's no shame. Or some days you might just need a little floaty just to give you a little support. You might not need the full life jacket. That's okay. I mean, you might need to just be flat out pulled out of the water on a day or two. I mean, I feel like I can confidently tell you, a year out from saying goodbye to my husband, I have less life jacket days, and I can encourage you with that it does get better. You have less life jacket days, or like less rescue mission days. You might just need a floaty, or like, like when kids have the little arm floaties, the little arm guys, you might just need a little boost that day. And that could be like a friend giving you a little encouragement. That could be just taking a little extra time to pray. That could be doing whatever you need to feel like your soul is getting filled up. And that's going to look different from person to person. And that is great because we're all unique. You just find your floaty. That's my charge to you. Find your floaty. That would be a really funny title to this video. People would probably be really confused, but it works. So find your floaty. And then you'll handle the waves as they come a whole lot better. And you'll find them, you'll keep moving on and you'll keep swimming and it'll get better. And that is my encouragement to someone else. And also maybe those that check in here on me, I can say, I'm finding that it's getting better. It's getting easier. If you happen to be like me, reaching a major milestone or have in the past from losing someone, maybe about the 1 year mark, for me, you may be wondering, hey, will I still feel stuff? Will I still deal with stuff? And I'm going to let you know, you might. Yeah, I want to lean towards like 99.9%. Yeah, you're probably still going to feel stuff. Will it be as intense? No. It might be different though. But give yourself grace to feel, and whatever that looks like, it looks like. And I even took a little curiosity bunny trail and Googled on and did ask the Google AI, and I was like, hey, what advice would you give someone from losing a spouse or someone they loved 1 year later? And they came up with this 3 things gathered from different places, explaining how there's this 1 year slump. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I like that. But I think there's some good things in here that will get nuggets from that can show you like, hey, this is how I need to steward my internal environment. They explain it like the shock buffer fades, and this might really apply if you had a sudden loss. In the first year, it says you may have functioned on autopilot or the survival mode. As you enter the second year, this protective numbness often defrosts, which can cause you to feel pain with new intensity. And I wanted to say, if you lost someone suddenly, give yourself grace for that. You are not expected to be perfect at the year mark or even the 2 year mark. Whatever your journey is, give yourself grace for that. The second thing they mentioned was how support networking and your support systems could change, because you may feel a lot of support at the beginning when someone passes, and then the degree of interaction and how people reach out to you may change. And they mentioned support from friends and family often peaks in the early months and may begin to taper off after the first year. People may assume you are doing better, which can lead towards feelings of isolation. So I feel like this is a time and an invitation, if you're in that spot, to don't be afraid to reach out. And there's no shame in saying, I am struggling with this, even if it is a year later or 2 years later, whatever it is, it's okay. It's okay. But people may not know that you need love and support unless you tell them. So don't be afraid to reach out. And the third thing our lovely AI had mentioned was secondary losses. You may be now more acutely aware of secondary losses, such as the loss of your shared identity, future plans, or financial security. And you probably have already touched on those in the first year if you've lost someone, especially a spouse. So it could just hit like a different level of reality, because you could have like gotten through something enough, and then it's like, here we are. And I know I'm in that spot too. I've had a lot of change in a short period of time, and I've just been trying to figure out like, wait, I got through this year, but what's next year look like? What is this next year ahead like? And I don't know how it's all going to work out. I don't. I would love to have more financial security or, a few more things guaranteed. But I am grateful for everything that I do have and that God has helped sustain us with. I'd love to have everything figured out and planned out because that feels nice, but life doesn't always work that way. And I just have to have that place of release and go, okay, God, I trust you to help me. And continually go, God, I know I can't micromanage and control all this. That if I do, it's probably just from the place of trying to make myself feel better because there was all this other things that happened in life I couldn't control. So if I, was trying to encourage someone and myself for that matter, I would say try not to dwell on what you have no control over. Make sure you put as much effort into praying about things and connecting with others as you do your worries or your fears or your complaining. I know for me, again, I'm not perfect. I don't want to zoom out on my life and see that my complaining time is a way longer total than my prayer and positive, sowing seeds of towards the future in faith. I want to make sure my thought process is total in that level a whole lot more than my fear, my doubt, and my complaining. And it changes you. Outlook changes you. It helps sustain you. So get your eyes on the right place. And most importantly, don't isolate. I know for me, I have some amazing people that God has put in my life. I have amazing people who ask really good questions, who challenge me, who ask me how I'm doing, that even remembered that it was the day he had passed and said, praying for you. And it was I'm so grateful for the people that made me feel seen and that remembered that it might have been a hard day. And that helps you keep going. So reach out and connect with people that can love on you. And then you can get through the moments that feel surreal or painful because you know you're not alone. I wish everyone the best, and maybe I'll pop in again soon. We will see. But again, I send all my love and letting know to my friends and my family that we're hanging in there and we're doing okay. And we're all trying to have hope for better days ahead. So, love you all.